this is more than CEO hot seat. This is outlaw radio. Okay, outlaw radio.
We're taking a poll. Who likes outlaw radio more?
We've got two outlaws here in their fields of industry.
That is awesome. What so jumping out on your own, back out on your own, or actually, hang on, Ken, cut this. Let's talk about let's talk about I know. So you just talked about your passion for giving back, right? And taking money out of your own pocket to give back no matter what. And we're really big on that as well. What fulfills you about that? Like why do you do that? I want to see if it kind of collides with why I do it.
I see it as someone is blessing you with this business, and I feel like you need to take some of that and bless others with that. There are so many wonderful organizations out here, and as you know, I've always promoted local businesses, and I've always had a goal of promoting local organizations that do a great job. I've been doing off and on the small business spotlight videos, which is kind of like a watered down diners, drive-ins, and dives. It's all about staying connected with just the community. And so many people now have learned the importance of Shriners Hospital just because my love of it. My daughter is a Shriners kid. She's having a pretty major surgery May 8th that will be a 3 to 5 month recovery process. Wow. So I'm going to have to, I'll have to put things in place for my business to keep going while I'll be at the hospital. I know the first 3 weeks of that. So, because a lot of people see Shriners, they think of the guys with the fez hats and the parades driving in the crazy cars and clowns. My dad was a Shriner before he passed away back in the 70s. And so I even grew up thinking, okay, these guys do crazy stuff in parades. But it wasn't until my daughter had all these things that needed to be addressed that I was like, oh, now I get it. Now I know why they love the kid so much and raise so much money for the hospital. So I've kind of seen that as that's one of the things that led to us coming to Greenville from Virginia is being closer to Shriners Hospital. So
that's amazing.
Yeah.
Well, it's always good to be able to pour back into your community. And especially when you got something that's so close to home that really makes it really easy to like go out and extend a helping hand. Right. Tell us a little bit about like, so in the real estate business, do you niche down to like do you have a certain house that you go after in like a certain price range? Or are you kind of like all over the place? Like, do you think it's important to niche down?
That's a good question. That's tough.
Well, I think because of I deal a lot with what the industry calls high C's, which is your numbers driven people. Mm-hmm. Because of the Virginia Tech connection, I do a lot of business with engineers, people in financing. So I know when I meet with them, I got to present the data. I can't just show up and just do a lot of talking. They want to see graphs and pie charts and all kinds of stuff. Yeah. And I know even after I leave there, they're going to research probably another 3 days worth of stuff because they constantly want that data to make decisions. Yeah. So that niche, has, I'm pretty much kind of in that anywhere from $350,000 to $600,000 range. So that's typically what they're buying, whether they're first time home buyers or whether they're on their second or third purchase. So that has naturally occurred over time that, that's kind of my sweet spot, so to speak.
Yeah. It's best to do that too and grow on that. Cause I've learned just by seeing other agents, like, they want to do new home buyer stuff, and then they want to do, the $1 million stuff. And it's like, there is a fine line between that. Like, I know I've got a new home buyer recently, and I pushed them to another realtor. And when I gave them the referral, they were like, why are you giving this to me? I was like, well, because that's just not my thing. Like, I'm not gonna help them out that much if I, through the process, just not what I'm good at. Like, I'm good at the other stuff, finding the higher end stuff. That's what we focus on. So I would be doing them a disservice if I tried to, do the new home buyer stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
So they were like blown away, because if they got $1 million listing, they're not going to send it my way. So like, they were kind of blown away by that. And I was like, well, that's just what it is. I'd rather my customer be taken care of in the right fashion than to just try and do something that I have no idea what I'm doing, So I think that's great that you've kind of starting to find your niche as well.
Yeah. The one thing that, my lowest listing ever was a property in Anderson, and or LA, Lower Anderson. So this was a referral that someone through Facebook an agent from Florida had sent me. And so because of that, I knew that, all the comps said that this was, that the agent was telling me, yeah, the owner thinks that it's worth 65,000. So I'm like, okay, my comps are saying 20,000 on a good day.
Wow.
So at this point, I'm kind of regretting, but hey, I'm in it now, and that, I tell you, that listing, I think any commission I made on that was spent on gas driving back and forth.
Yeah, you got like a $200 commission.
Yeah, like you had to watch. The property sold for 17,000.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
Low, by far the lowest thing I've ever sold. But you had to watch where you walked, because there was so much termite damage in the flooring. The house next door, let's just say, had a meth lab explosion.
Okay.
And so it was in embers. You had a few ladies down the road that were,
Brothel.
Little, I don't even know if I call it that, but they were. So yeah, it was the one and only time I told our photographer, you know what, just stay home. I'll use my camera phone to take pictures for the MLS.
I feel like you would have spent all the money that you make on the photography anyway.
Yeah. This was one time I said, you know what, we'll just bypass the photography and video, and we definitely don't need to do drone work on this. So yeah, it's the one and only time I got out my camera phone and just snapped a few pictures and got out of there, and we got it sold quickly. But man, it was. There's a longer story behind that involves a bad divorce and a brother-in-law who owns it wanting to get the other brother-in-law. It was bad. So it makes for a great story.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's always those lower end customers that you end up running through the ringer for them. I always notice that.
Yeah. So I haven't gone back to that price point.
Maybe one day.
Yeah.
It's tough because you don't want to outprice your clientele, and because you don't know if they own something else or they want to do something else down the road. So it's like you don't want to not take the $20,000 job because that might lead into a couple $100,000 sale down the line, but you don't know that. So you're kind of
and it's so important to bring people in for what we call a buyer's consultation, because you want to pre-qualify them to make sure. I had a couple show up from New Jersey one time, met with them. They already had a pre-approval letter, but in talking with them, there was a lot of red flags going on. So when they left, I called the lender that was up in Connecticut, and he's like, "Oh, they're good. They make this much." And so I'm like, "Okay." Show them some properties, and we get something under contract. It was like 225,000, and I noticed like a day or two after they went under contract, they switched lenders to a Rocket Mortgage.
Mm.
So I'm like, okay, not unusual, but some more red flags are popping up. So I called the Rocket Mortgage person, and they're like, "Oh yeah, they're good. They're turning in stuff now." And So we go through the whole process, like 3 to 4 weeks. And every week I'm calling this Rocket Mortgage because something is just not settling. And they're like, yeah, they've turned in everything. I'm just waiting on one more piece of information and we're good to go. Get all the way to the night before the final walkthrough. They're good. Just they're turning in this one last thing. And we do the final walkthrough on a Friday. Closing's supposed to happen that Monday. So I called the Rocket Mortgage. I said, "Hey, we just did the final walkthrough, or we're still good to go for Monday, right?" And I didn't get the guy I'd been talking to for
Mm.
the last 3 or 4 weeks. Well, right, I got another guy. We'll just call him Chip. And
Mhm.
So Chip said, "Oh yeah, yeah, he's on vacation, but he told me to tell you, yeah, we're not closing on this one."
Oh my god.
Oh wow.
It
Oh my
turns
God.
out my buyers were, to put it nicely, were scam artists, and they had the one piece of information was verifying their employment. They were turning in false made up pay stubs, made up paperwork. It would have been nice to have known this from that's why I always tell this is one of the many reasons why local lenders and having a relationship with a local lender as well is so important
Yeah.
because I, I mean, I was like, at what point did they think they could get away with this? And so
Absolutely.
yeah,
You'd be
this
surprised. Yeah.
yeah, but now we're running into, I was contacted in October to sell a 24 and a half, 25 acre lot along Wade Hampton. And I started digging into the person wasn't local, started digging into all the title deed stuff and all. And the names weren't exactly matching up with who I was talking to. And needless to say, I declined something wasn't sitting right. And another agent listed it shortly after. And this was back in October. In December, I decided to pull it up just to see what ended up happening with that property. And I could see where it started out at around 550,000, the lot, and the price kept reducing down to like 150.
Holy smokes.
And it turned out there are people throughout the state of South Carolina right now that they are scamming people. I don't know how they're getting it to close because I don't think, and apparently this agent finally, I won't say who they were, but finally got wise to it. But they wasted 2 months of their time and money on pictures for
I
that
think I saw
lot.
something about this on
And
Facebook.
they are starting to, that this is happening throughout the state where people are picking vacant lots. They're doing it in the cliffs right now
In
too.
Valley?
Sandy Clayton was one that red flags were going off for her. Luckily, she identified everything in time, but they're getting a lot of agents to list because they know people really aren't going out to look at the property.
Yeah.
There is no opening and closing of a door. So I guess their hope is to close it quick enough and offer the lot at a discount to attract maybe a cash buyer that will close quickly. Yet I don't see how. I mean, an attorney or someone's going to sniff that out. So I don't know what the end game is. Is it just to waste everybody's time?
Probably.
Maybe earnest money.
I don't know.
I seen one for the
Well,
Cliffs
the
Valley.
attorney's holding the earnest money, so there's
Yeah.
no way
Yeah.
they can touch that. So I don't know what their end game is because I can't see it like really working yet.
Yeah.
That scam is going around right now. So
Yeah. You never know until you start digging deep into it, like those the duct cleaning scams that go around.
goodness.
I never knew.
all over GYP.
I didn't know what that was for a long time. They had it in Myrtle for a long time, and then I kind of started digging deeper, and then I found somebody that actually had been scammed by them, and then you read like how it goes on, and you're like,
What they
holy
like
crap.
to do, I run my neighborhood Facebook page, and so what they like to do, and I've had to now ask questions. Hey, what address do you live at when they're wanting to join the group?
Yeah.
I've had to really lock that down because on two different occasions they joined as a resident, and then their first post was, "Hey, who needs duct
Yeah,
cleaning?"
yeah.
And then I have to let my whole neighborhood know, "Hey,
Stay
don't
away.
respond. This is a big
I
scam
feel
going
bad for
on."
the real duck cleaning companies.
Yeah,
Like, how do
yeah.
they promote?
I do, and I tell them I do know some real duct work. If y'all need duct work cleaning, let me know and I'll get you with someone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Nice.
let's jump into my hot seat, right?
Hot seat questions.
I guess my first one really was going to be, well, I was going to ask you if you saw yourself leaving Keller Williams at some point now that you're looking at doing your broker, which you kind of answered that. You want to touch on that a little bit more?
I don't foresee me leaving Keller Williams. I just love it from the culture standpoint of things. It's not, the money's been great, don't get me wrong, yet the whole culture of things of giving back, it's something you don't see with every company. And so the culture piece is very important to me. The education piece is very important to me. Um, so I think anything that I ever do, never say never yet, anything that I foresee me doing in the future will probably be Keller Williams
Awesome.
related. Yeah.
I like that. I like that loyalty.
It's one of my greatest assets, yet has it burned me a time or two being too loyal? Yeah, yeah, it does. So loyalty is definitely a big part of what makes me. And I expect that from others as well, which is where I get burned. A
Yeah.
lot of, I assume they're going to be just as loyal as I am.
It's
Yeah,
a rare trait,
yeah,
unfortunately.
yeah.
Let's talk about your journey, your amazing health journey that everybody's been able to see on Facebook.
Yeah.
What is it that triggered your health journey, and how great do you feel? Because you look great.
So yeah, what triggered it was last late Feb, so a little over a year ago today. I'd spent months having bad headaches. My face was starting to, like, I was having like tightness and tingling throughout my jawline and
Yeah.
everything. And so I went for an annual checkup after I went to another Keller Williams event, which I love that event, but my headaches were on a whole nother level. And man, when they checked my blood pressure, it was what, 184 over 129. And the
Oh,
doctor's like, there's your headaches. You're on the verge of, the fact that you haven't had a stroke yet is amazing in itself. So that was what triggered a journey that has led to, I've been in the 65 to 70 pound weight loss since
congrats.
then. My goal
It's
is to
amazing.
drop another
it is.
50 this year. So yeah, I had three different specialists that I met with um after that, and they were all telling me the same thing. And they're like, dude, if you're not going to live for your family and other things that are important to you, then you're you're headed in the right direction
Yeah.
if you don't want to. So it took a come to Jesus wake up call to I'm headache free and all now. And
That's
so
good.
yeah, it's and it's been great to see others kind of, they followed the
For
journey.
sure.
And I don't do it to say kind of like, look at me. One, I do it for accountability to keep me going. And two, I hope that somebody gains something out of that. And I've had a few people write me, private message me and all, and talk about how they're going on their own journey. But yeah, that I had to take some time off to kind of relax, because the real estate market at that time was like at a
Go, go,
whole
go,
nother
go, go.
level. And that
Yeah.
was causing a lot of it too, is
Yeah.
if you didn't go see a house in the next 30 minutes, it was already
gone.
under contract. So you had buyers just freaking out. Agents were freaking out. You had multiple offers and 20 to 50 grand over a list price.
Yeah.
Jeez.
It I'm so glad that the market has pumped the brakes, because that was not healthy for anybody.
No.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's exhausting. Well, what's your goal for this year, and what are you doing to stand out? I mean, with the inventory being so low and agents at an all-time high, what are you doing to stand out?
So I mean, you got to take what you did and or what I did in 21 and 22, and you got to, if you want at least the same or if not more business, you gotta basically double it. If you were making 50 contacts a week, you got to bump it up to 100.
Yeah.
Same thing with your dials and going on a setting and going on appointments. So it's more network, getting back to doing more networking. So it's a lot of things because the inventory we still do have a lot of people locked in at 2 and 3%, 2 years ago, and so they see 6%, so they're like, I don't want to move right now. This is over double of what my current rate is, or they refinanced, and
Yeah.
but they don't see there are several different mortgage hacks, as they call them, out there. Um, Now we're back to, hey, you can get a little bit off the price of a home, or you can get the seller to cover your closing costs.
Slide
So
down on your
Mhm.
rates.
it's all about educating people
Yeah.
that although the rates are high, there are other things now. Okay, the rates are high, but you're not paying 20 to 50 grand over the list price
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're paying list price or even lower. You've gone from sellers not covering a dime of your closing costs to all of a sudden buying a full point off or doing what's known as a 2-1 buy down or a 3-2-1 buy down. So there's there's all kinds of ways where, I mean, this is a wonderful time to purchase and to still sell real estate, to still get top dollar for your house if you price it to the current market. So this year is all going to be about ramping it up and educating people more on that. Now is still a great time to buy. If Dave Ramsey's out there saying it, hey,
Mhm.
some people consider him the end all
Yeah, the
be all,
financial
but
guru.
yeah. So so yeah, it's still, but we're still, the news is telling us, hey, this is 2008, yet what they 2023 is projected to be the third highest volume in the history of real estate.
That's
Wow.
awesome.
Now, not units sold, but highest volume,
Volume.
because
In
inventory
revenue.
is still low. So, but when you hold it up to the 21 and 22 comparisons, yeah, 23 does look bad, but the third highest in the history of
Yeah.
real estate. Are you kidding
it's
me?
incredible.
And
Yeah.
people are comparing it to 2008.
Yeah,
mean,
I don't see this
it's-
area falling off anytime
yeah,
soon.
No.
yeah. We are still gonna, at the end of the day, we are still gonna see appreciation in this upstate throughout 2023, without a doubt. Is it going to be 15 to 30% appreciation? Heck no. Is it going to be back to normal 3 to 6%? Yes, probably so.
Which is probably better anyway. I think
It
everybody
is.
was getting
Yeah.
scared of paying overpriced for all
Yeah,
these
yeah.
homes and stuff. I
For sure.
Yeah.
saw a home the other day. It was in a crack house pretty much, and it was selling for $375. I was like, really? Jeez.
Well, we had so much fun having you on, Donald. If somebody's looking for you, where can they find you besides the Clemson Network?
Oh.
He was waiting for
Yeah,
that.
I know. He was itching the whole time. So I'm throughout social media under that Greenville Agent. That's a handle that I kind of started even before, back in 2015. So I've rolled with it since I've come off the team. So that Greenville Agent on Instagram, Facebook. I restarted a YouTube channel, so you can
Nice.
find me on that. And yeah, I'd love to help out. And I do want to know, to me, this is more than CEO hot seat. This is outlaw radio. Okay, outlaw radio.
We're taking a
is
poll. Who likes outlaw radio more?
We've got two outlaws here in their fields of industry, and so I've always joked with Chris, especially about it being outlaw radio here. But I know
Shoot from the hip.
They're pretty cool.
I know originally I was
Shoot
supposed to
from-
come here in
Yeah.
December, and then the whole broker thing, and I couldn't skip out on that. And so I appreciate finally getting to sit down with y'all and talk a little bit.
Yeah, we appreciate your
Absolutely.
time.
We
Yeah.
appreciate you. What a great episode.
Yeah, thanks.
Lots of value
Thank
in
you.
it.
Thanks for coming on.
Yeah.
All right.